Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the third ever American Populist Union live stream. A lot of people in the chat. Good to see all of you guys. Sorry for the delay. Complicated business, technical difficulties. My fault. We're joined by Joe Kent today. I'm going to bring him on here. Hi, Joe. How you doing?
Man, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure. Now, we're here to explicitly talk about what happened on Thursday regarding you and Nick Fuentes. So, do you have anything you want to start by saying? Okay, now Thursday, I think it was Thursday night as well, Nick Fuentes did a live stream where he talked about the whole event. He said that you guys had spoken on the phone around a year ago, I guess, and that he had helped you get your social media off the ground. What do you have to say about that? Okay, so, I mean, what is it that you disagree with off the cuff that he said?
I just think that that's not the message that we want to be putting out to people, that this is some sort of an exclusionary type of group, that we only represent, Christian white men or white people in general. I think that that's a bad message to have when we are, number one, it's a bad message to have because.
So now, would you say that white people are discriminated against in America today?
Yes.
Well, I don't think he said the movement is only about white people. You called the language hurtful earlier. What do you mean? Was that a slip of the tongue, or how was it hurtful? Is that what caused you to disavow Nick?
To be talking about it in those terms, I do think it's hurtful to Jewish people, and really to anybody who is well read on history and what happened in the Holocaust.
Yeah. Okay. Now you're talking about inclusive populism. It's what you said in the tweet. It's what a lot of people have noticed. What is that to you? I mean, your district is 89% white. The 4% of Hispanics that are there. Obviously, your opponent has a Hispanic last name. She's trying to appeal to them with that. I mean, what is inclusive populism? But you inherently recognize the purpose of exclusivity. You're talking about it right now. You're calling for an immigration moratorium. You said our people. What is an American what defines an American citizen? What defines America to you?
American citizenship.
So you mentioned the economic reasons, the H-1B visas, obviously, or legal immigration is a problem, illegal immigration. There's a cultural aspect too. You admit that. What would you say the effects of mass legal immigration is on the cultural America? I mean, what is the cultural America too? What is that to you? Well, that is exclusive. A Christian, another thing you pointed out about Nick and his rhetoric is you said that it is divisive regarding race and religion. You're touching a lot on religion here. You're talking about in God we trust, the 10 commandments in our judicial buildings. I mean, the founding fathers were Christian. The founding stock were Puritan, Quakers, Christians. I mean, the greatest Americans have been Christians from any walk, any church. So why is that angle, in your opinion, from where Nick is coming from, divisive? I mean, what is so dividing about that? You seem to be pretty
more of a tactics thing. As far as him saying Christianity is part of the movement, I would agree with that. As tactically, I mean, do we throw that up in people's face every 5 minutes? I just don't think in the year 2022 that's a winning strategy.
I think that standing firm in the truth is a winning strategy all the time, regardless of what year it is. The chat is getting very upset about this phrase Judeo-Christian, and it would be a disservice to them if I didn't ask what you meant by that. But specifically the Judeo part, they're getting very upset about that. But the question is, you bowed to the ADL, is what they're saying. You bowed to your opponent, Saint. What's her name in second place right now?
St. John, third place.
Yeah, St. John. I saw a Trafalgar poll which had you in first and her in second, I think. But she made this attack ad about you, saying that you were with Nick, you were friends with Nick and Hitler, and so they're wondering, they're curious. They're like, okay, why, if you're gonna be swayed so easily to disavow someone who is saying America first things before you're even elected, I mean, how can we really trust you in Congress? And American demographics right now are 70% white, 30% minority. I mean, at what point have we lost America? What does that look like to you? What are some of Nick's politics regarding Israel you strongly condemn, Mr. Nagato, for $5?
I don't specifically know. We'd have to have a deeper discussion. Again, the Holocaust stuff, when he starts talking about the Holocaust and all that, I don't know what
I know he's made a joke. I'm not very familiar with it. So, let's see. Jennifer Graff says, "Why did you disavow Nick? He's awesome. $2. We already talked about that." Okay, let's see. John Doe has a super chat for $50, so I have to read it. You disavowed Nick for his white advocacy, yet you also conceded that white people are under attack. So why should marginalized whites not be permitted to advocate for their own collective interests as every other demographic group does?
Fair question. I just don't. Again, this is a thing where if we're going to say that like our movement is all about white people, I mean, if Nick wants
I don't think he said that, by the way. I really don't. I mean, John Miller spoke at AFPAC
I could be
too,
misquoting him. At the speech at AFPAC, I think he said something like, "This is," and there's white men here and white men in the backbone of our. It was something like that.
I mean, that seems plausible. If the constituency of the movement is young white Christian men, then that would be true. The same way that the constituency of BLM is black people. Kid Trunks says, when it comes to policy making decisions, do you consider the needs of Chinese-speaking anchor baby citizens equally as important as the needs of legacy Americans whose ancestors fought in the American Revolution? Interesting question. There seems to be a new dialect here, or a new way of operating, where the American citizen doesn't matter, and what actually matters is the citizens of the world, the immigrants. They're not, the Anglo, this founding stock of America. Screw them. They're dying 75,000 a year to opioids, but well, here we have some person in Guatemala who matters more. We're going to tailor our policy towards them. So I'm glad to hear you say that. Okay, and so a lot of important questions to get to. Someone is asking for $10. Did any, I'm gonna try to range this out a little bit. Did any contributors to your campaign, did any friends of your campaign influence your decision to disavow Nick? Mainly people have been talking about. So someone asked, what does Israel have to do with the state you're running in or running for? I mean, you disavowed Nick because they're our greatest ally, and you don't like his rhetoric about it. You don't know a specific policy, but I mean, when it comes to Israel, if Israel, we give them arms deals and technology, then they go sell it to China, and there's just silence. And I think that is there's a lot of discontent among the base there that establishment Republicans are very afraid to address, because there is an Israel lobby and it's very powerful.